Andrew, how are you?
Good. I heard you f***ed Destiny's girlfriend.
I did.
Yeah,
I
okay.
did. Wife, actually.
Wife. Sorry,
yes.
my bad.
And I didn't f*** her. We made love.
Oh, yeah. Well, so is everybody else, Gavin.
Well, I was alarmed to learn that he's a midget.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give midgets a bad name, but he's a little on the, well, let's just say the Lollipop Kingdom side. He's a little.
So Destiny is a tiny little midget of a man, and he offered his wife up to anyone who wants to f*** her, because that's. And we all know guys like this, especially back in college, right? And they talk about polyamory and how, you know, love is a myth and monogamy, we're not meant to be monogamous and all that. 100% of those dudes end up single, up. It never works.
Ever.
And they're so smug. Even, remember that famous one that was a meme?
You're just insecure.
Yeah.
You're just insecure.
Yes. There was that big fat chick, and she had like 4 boyfriends. Remember her?
Yeah.
And then one of them ended up either killing her baby, or beat the shit out of it or something.
Yeah.
The one that looked like a little rat.
Yeah.
It's just, how many times do we have to go through this? It's not natural.
Now, hang on. I did hear that you're a prophet. That during your debate with the Coomer Gremlin himself, that you did prophesy
To the day.
that his whore wife was going to leave him.
Within the year, I said.
Yes, you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Europeans are starlings. They have no natural predators when they come over here. We saw what happened with the Indians. So don't marry Europeans. They are just trying to get citizenship, and the second they get it, you're gone. You're toast.
Isn't she Canadian though?
I thought she was Swedish.
I mean, I think she is, but then she was in Canada or something.
Oh, so she probably f***ed a guy over there, got Canadian citizenship, and then she thought, I want American citizenship.
Yeah. It's just like, so is that a passport hoe?
How does he make so much money? I don't understand. Who wants to hear him talk?
Well, he was the first in the game. So, let me explain what that is. There was this place, it was now called Twitch. I'm sure you're familiar with Twitch.
Yeah, you play video games and talk.
Before that, it was called Justin TV.
Okay.
And he was like one of the first ones on there playing video games and giving commentary while he was playing video games. So he was just the first one in.
Is he good at video games?
I don't know, because
Why the
I don't
fuck
watch
do
his
people want to
fucking
watch
show.
people play video games? I hate it.
Me too. But there's people who adore this, right? They just love watching this. But he was one of the first in. And so because he was one of the first in, he kind of gained a brand new audience, and it started a brand new genre. And so that's why, even though his show is boring as shit and he's stupid as
Hi, this is Anthony Cumia.
And hello, I am Gavin McInnes.
Together, we're Compound Censored.
And we'd like you to subscribe to our network that has more fantastic content you could shake a stick at. Use this promo code for a one-time super offer.
Do it. It's uncensored and oh so entertaining.
fuck. Tons of people still watch it, right? That's it, basically.
Like Hassan Piker. That's
stupid as shit, stupid as can be. Well, he's got the
Absolute
Uncle
retard.
Sync. He's got the Uncle Sync thing going.
What's that?
Sanky-gur.
Oh, yeah. That's his uncle?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an uncle, or they're related somehow.
Because he'll just sit there
Chunk yogurt.
for like 8 hours doing a show, talking. His mommy will bring him a snack. And I'm like, I don't understand. It's a generational thing, but is that just on in the background? Or are you sitting there
No,
for
they're
8
sitting
hours?
there watching it. These autistic communist kids are watching this shit. The Republicans have to be stopped, Mom. This is my trans friend down the street. She can't.
Boggles the mind.
She can't even get her, her penis cut off in this state because he's monstrous Republican.
Well, at least that show you're on a lot, the Whatever podcast.
Yeah.
It's scintillating. I love watching it.
Yeah.
And it always has great clips. My only problem with it is sometimes I think these OnlyFans bitches, they happily go there and get slaughtered because they just end up with more viewers.
Well, they do. But,
so it's promoting OnlyFans in a weird way.
well, not really. I actually had a debate on this recently. You could say basically anybody who's ever interviewed by anybody, whatever their motivation is, they're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this case, I still think that it's far better to show people what's going on, even if, because any of the coomers who were watching that show, who subscribed to this chick's OnlyFans, they were subscribed to some other chick's OnlyFans anyway.
Yeah, they're losers.
Yeah, none of them were just like, oh my God, after seeing her, I have to go to OnlyFans and I have to coom. They were already coomers, you know what I mean? And I think that the way that whatever exposes the kind of wider ethos that's happening with these skanks is one of the most beneficial things to society I've ever seen, because people don't even know this is going on. A lot of people have no idea this is even happening.
I think a lot of these girls, it's never occurred to them that they're prostitutes. And they're like, I'm making tons of money. Yeah, prostitution pays well.
Yeah,
so does selling drugs. There's lots of sins that are profitable, but no one wants to marry you. There is that chick with the dyed red hair.
Nala.
Who is now Christian.
Yeah, I debated her on whatever.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe you converted her.
Yeah, well, that's what Brian says. He gives me credit for it. He says, that was you. So I'll tell you a little bit about her, my impressions.
Okay.
Okay, so at a lot of the women I've talked to there, she came off as being very genuine. And what I mean by that is, I honestly believed that she believed the things she was saying. A lot of people I debate, a lot of women I debate, you know how you can get a feeling from someone that they don't actually believe the shit that they're saying?
Right.
Her, I got the distinct feeling she actually believed the stuff that she was telling me.
Really?
Right? As stupid as it is, as the stuff she was telling me was, I got the impression she at least believed it was true. And so I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt when she came out with this. And a lot of people were hammering her.
Came out with what?
Even from
OnlyFans or Christianity?
No, with the Christianity, with the conversion. You know, I was on Pearl Davis's show right after that. I was talking with Pearl, and she's like, "Come on, Andrew, like this is bullshit. You know, it's just bringing in a bunch of simps." And I'm like, "Look, back off, because everybody needs to have at least an opportunity to move that direction." You know what I mean?
Well, if she quits her OnlyFans, then it's proof.
But she hadn't. She hadn't really quit it, and then there was a bunch of pressure, right? And then she did.
Yeah,
she
obviously.
did. She did basically quit. She did basically quit after that. She pulled it all down. But it's like, that shows you the power of social shame, right? And social shame works. And so I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. And it looks like she's really trying to back off of that and move towards Christianity. And it's like, great.
It just, I see OnlyFans as a real sign of the apocalypse, because it's men giving up, and I don't blame them for giving up. Like I said to my sons, when you go to college, we have to outfit your dorm with hidden cameras and illegally film you fucking, because you could ruin your life.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, remember that chick, mattress girl?
Yeah. Strapped the mattress to her back.
Yeah.
Claimed that she was, and none of that shit happened.
Destroyed him.
Yeah.
Well, it was something that we've all done. He was putting it in her vagina, and then he put it in her butthole. And she said, no. And then he kept going for a few pumps. Who hasn't done that? It's in a Mindy Kaling episode of her stupid sitcom.
What's next? You can't just put it right in her mouth?
It's called an accident,
right,
okay?
Right.
And it happens once a year.
Don't you have to wash it off, right?
It happens to every single person in the world once a year. And yeah, she destroyed him for that. So I think a lot of these young men, they go, I'd rather just jerk off.
That chick, mattress girl, right, was making pornos.
After the incident, she did an art piece that was a reenactment of the... I'm doing a lot of finger quotes here.
Yeah.
And then she aired that.
Yeah.
It was her whole identity. She's a mental patient. Oh yeah. And then we discovered later that she was texting him saying, I want you to fuck me in my ass.
Yeah.
And then when she got caught with that, she goes, there are no perfect victims.
Yeah. We all cope in a different way.
Yeah. I cope with my by asking for more.
Yeah, by asking for another. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But this is actually a big part of why that show, whatever, is so successful. It's so successful because it also shows that in modernity, women have trouble taking accountability for their actions.
Well, they've never been criticized.
Never.
And this is true of the left in many ways. Like, I'm at a point now where I just say, how many illegals are there in America? And if they don't say between 15 and 30, I just walk away. Like, we're arguing with people and debating and talking to people who have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And that's okay. I don't know anything about cars or guns, but I don't have a car-gun show.
Do you believe that they believe that, though?
Which?
That there's only, if they were to come on and say, oh, you know, there's a couple million illegals, that's it. Do you actually believe that they believe that?
I don't think they've ever thought about it. I think it's proof that they've just talking out of their ass. And if you try to pinpoint and you say, like, how many is too many illegals? And you say, like, 200 million? Is that too many? And they'll be like, nope. And you're like, you're not a serious person.
No.
So those girls, those OnlyFans chicks, they've never questioned anything. They've never had any kind of rigor to their
They've never had any criticism. They have a magic power. Imagine if you had, and you've never had this, because you're an ugly Scotsman, but imagine that you were to have this superpower where doors magically opened for you, money magically came into your pocket without you doing anything.
I can't imagine that.
You can't, but they have that.
I've actually talked to like super hot chicks and I go, what's it like to walk into a room and every single person there wants to fuck you? Like 15-year-old boys, 70-year-old men, married guys, single, everyone would love to see your tits. And she goes, it's exhausting, but you just shut it off. It's like being a burn victim. Like you know people are going to stare at you and you just accept it.
Well, the thing is that
I would just fuck them all.
They utilize it. Some of these chicks do,
yeah,
right? But they utilize it to gain huge amounts of resources. The problem is that then they hit 30, 32, 34.
Poof.
Suddenly it's really hard to keep your body in shape and you're not nearly as beautiful as you once were.
It really is a switch, isn't it?
And then when that power's gone, they do everything to create the illusion that it's still there. So that's why you see all these chicks with the filters and the makeup and all this shit all over their Instagram. They're 40. Wow, that chick is smoking hot. You're getting catfished. For one thing, these chicks, they don't look like that in studio.
Really?
No, fuck no. Not even in the same universe. I remember the first time I went home and I was talking with my wife and I'm like, I don't know how they do it, but they can prep their makeup in such a way where they just look perfect on that camera. They do not look like that. Okay? They are 2 degrees downgraded from that. And it's amazing. But they can, the way that they wear their outfits and the way they do their makeup and you know what I mean? They can really present themselves on camera as looking way different than they actually look in person.
You know, we had such a great system before they said, no, we're going to reboot it all. We had a system where you're a pretty lady, you attract a man, you have 3 to 5 kids, and then when you get older and you lose your looks, it's cool, I got your back, I'm going to be here, still loving you, still fucking you, and your children will adore you, and you lost your cachet, in a sense, but no one cares, because we love you unconditionally. They changed that and said, no, I'm just going to take the sex part and then monetize that over here. And you go, okay, you're really thinking outside the box here. And then, as you say, they hit that, like Drew Barrymore. I was looking at her the other day and I'm like, wow, it's gone. Like, you're not remotely attractive anymore.
Really gone.
Toast. You're a dude. I'd rather fuck a dude.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. But it is gone. And this is, like, you hit on a key end point here, right? Is women's lib has fucked women in the worst way.
The worst way.
The worst way possible, because and the most interesting part is they did it from the best of intention. You know, the road to hell is paved in good intentions?
Yeah.
You need to be happy, girl. You need to be happy.
Well, it started as...
Your happiness is what matters. And then what they do is they go, oh, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And I'm like, but you have fucking kids. You have kids and you have a husband. What about them? Yeah, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Break up the whole family?
Eat, pray, love. I want to go to India.
Yeah. First of all, marriage is work, right? It's work. And you can have whole years where you're not fucking happy.
Oh, dude.
You can have whole years where you're
Write that on a giant mountain. Put that next to Mount Rushmore. No one understands that.
Yeah.
Yes, be unhappy. The guys go away in the military. They're gone for a year. People have to move to Beijing for their job for 3 years. People have shitty circumstances. You can have bad time, but they'll have a bad month and it'll be over.
I was working doubles at night trying to get ahead of my house payments. Okay. I saw my wife maybe an hour a day for 2 years. right? And she told me.
I've heard of that destroy marriages.
Yeah,
Night
well,
shifts.
she told me, she sat me down one day and she said, I know that we're getting ahead, but we've got to make some changes because it's miserable. It's miserable for you. It's miserable for me. We're fighting over nothing. We had a fight the night before, right? I was mad that she didn't put enough taco sauce on the tacos she made, and I made a big deal out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, that's ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, it is ridiculous, you know what I mean?
Well, you're probably fucking exhausted.
Oh,
too.
constantly. I was always exhausted, and she was always great about it. She knew it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, it wasn't ultimately productive. It was time to do something else. But the point is like, that was a couple of really fucking miserable years for both of us.
Right.
But that was okay. We were working towards a goal, working towards an aim, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to suffer.
You got to suffer, yeah. And she wasn't about to be like, well, fuck you. You know, even though it would destroy our entire family and ruin the kids and ruin you, I got to go be happy. So I'm going to go blow the neighbor and hope that he has more money, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember in 1980, I was 10, and there was always a dad on our couch. Because it seemed like it started in 1980. The boomers had been married for like 10 years. They were getting itchy, 7-year itch, I guess it is. And
having key parties and shit.
Yeah. And the trope is that he marries his secretary, wants some, you know, they love you till you show your age. But that's not what I saw. I saw them marry a woman, they would get married pretty soon after too, and they'd marry a woman that was just like the one they divorced.
Yeah.
Same age and everything. And I was like, well, you should have just stuck it out with that first one, dummy. But it's, you know, the common denominator here is you're playing God when you want to reinvent the wheel. And you know, you see this with communism, where Stalin decides he's going to be in charge of who eats, and then you have Holodomor. I always pronounce it wrong.
Yeah.
Where
the Holodomor.
Yeah, that was what 7 million people starved to death.
Yep.
Because you're better than God. You're better than nature. I'm going to decide who eats. And it's the same with OnlyFans.
I mean,
it's the same with
Mao did the same
polyamory.
thing, Pol Pot too, right? We need the educated people. If you're just wearing glasses, you need to get in the trenches.
Yeah.
You got to get down with the rest of the plebs.
Yeah.
Destroy everything. What, do they fucking need a doctor digging a fucking trench? What are you, out of your mind? We need him to
I'm
be
better than
treating the
God.
people whose hands are hurt by digging the fucking trench.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what we're. What are you doing? But you make a good point. But remember, like women's liberation and feminism, and there's a great book, my wife's book. I brought you a copy actually. It's called Occult Feminism. She traces the roots of feminism, and I mean, communism was riddled with women's liberation, women's ideology. I mean, Russia, right? Abortion was so prevalent there that they finally had to stop it because they realized they were going to run out of fucking people.
Yeah.
All right, that was all women's lib.
They use it as birth control.
Yeah, well, that was all part of women's liberation theology.
Right.
Right, and women's liberation Protestant theology here inside the United States, the women's devotional Bible, all this kind of stuff. Get rid of the patriarchy, hierarchy's bad. All of that, in its feminist core roots, come out of these crazy lunatic Protestant sects in the 1800s, pushing this madness.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
I've always thought women, this was chosen for them. Like when you see the suffragettes, you're just like, your heart's not in that. So there's a dude behind you saying you should fight for the right to vote. I'll never forget, I was watching some 50s like Western cowboy movie, and this woman gets out and she's in the courtroom, and she gets up from the back chairs there, whatever seats, and she starts this whole diatribe, and the judge is like, hey, order in my court. And then the lawyers are like, you can't do that. And she's like, let me tell you something, Buster. We're not gonna sit here and be told what to do. And she's this brassy broad. And I'm like, a dude wrote this script. A dude is directing this movie. A dude hired her to say his lines. And that's what feminism and a lot of women's rights are. I can just see some dude.
Well, I have all the old newspaper clippings from the anti-suffragettes. People don't realize the anti-suffragettes.
I just learned about these.
That
very
was
recently.
a much larger movement than the suffragettes were, and they had way better arguments. Then they would argue with each other.
Don't let us vote.
Yeah, but they had great arguments for why, right? It seems absurd on its face because Feminism's the air you breathe. It's the water you swim in. We've all been indoctrinated with it, whether you want to believe it or not. But the anti-suffragettes would use newspapers to argue with the suffragettes. And so they'd make arguments, actual philosophical arguments back and forth. The anti-suffragettes were like, listen, politics is a man's domain. We don't want to get fucking drafted and have to go in the military, which they still don't, by the way, even though it's supposed to be equality, right? We don't want to get drafted. No way. We don't want to ever pay property taxes. We can own property right now if we get married and have it in our name, and our husband can't take it. But if he dies, we get half. We can't incur any debt. They weren't allowed to incur any debt. That would all go on the husband, period. So they could go shopping, the whole 9 yards, pick up whatever they want. They were never responsible for any of the debt. So, I mean, they had fantastic arguments for why it was that being in the political domain was really bad for women. And also they said it's going to expand the voting pool, and we're going to become political cogs at that point. And so
Which
then
they are.
Which they are.
Yeah.
Which they are. And the anti-suffragettes were so smart, a lot of them, they said, listen, women are really easy to influence. We're really easy to influence.
They're genetically agreeable.
Yeah. And so what happens is, and now we see this, right? Propaganda always towards women, which is why, they're the biggest debt holders when it comes to credit cards, things like this. They're so easy to influence with propaganda.
Look at Justin Trudeau. They elected him, I don't know what term he's on, his third, his fourth, because he's a hunk. He's actually retarded.
Yeah.
He's probably as dumb, or if not dumber, than Joe Biden. And he just keeps getting reelected because he's handsome.
Yeah.
And you see this with politics
And
in general.
he's a literal traitor. He's a Canadian traitor. Like, if there was justice in the world, they'd put that guy right up against the wall, Trudeau, for what he did to Canada.
I mean, with the COVID, with the truckers,
with the
confiscating
lockdowns,
bank accounts.
What he did was, from my perspective, was high crimes. I mean, he did high crimes against his own nation, political crimes.
Oh, yeah. He's
you honked your
Castro's
horn.
son.
Go to jail. You honked your fucking horn. Unreal, this guy.
And the money he gives to the media, Ezra Levant did the math, and it ends up being like $40,000 per person in media. Because he had like that, I don't remember how much it was like $70 million. He said it was to save newsprint, but it was really just a gift to the media to talk nice about me. Mm-hmm. But there's not that, Canada's a tenth of the population. Yeah. So there's not that many people in media. So you throw millions at them, and every single person is getting tens of thousands of dollars. That's Cuba. That's Fidel.
Yeah,
he is Fidel's son.
Yeah, that's buying the electorate, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And women are also I like that women are agreeable as moms, because we see a shitty drawing, and we go, "What the fuck is that? That's not a horse. A horse has 5 legs now.
That's retarded. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, go back to the drawing board, literally. And but then women go, "I love it. It's cool."
Yeah.
And that's a good balance for a kid.
Yeah.
You get flattered and you get insulted. And
they need
find
the
balance.
feminine and they need the masculine. God knew what he was doing.
Right. Yeah. But then when you bring them into the political sphere, you go, families are being separated. And they go, that's bad. But if you're with your kid and you're dealing cocaine and you get arrested, your families get separated. Or, I have no proof that you are the dad. I'm not putting you in a cell together, you illegal aliens. You could rape the kid. So we have to separate them. So us men can go, yeah, that drawing's shitty. Yeah, that family has to be separated.
Well, it's funny. One of the better arguments I heard of this, and I have back and forth because I don't agree with everything this guy says, obviously.
Destiny?
No, this would be Fuentes, Nick Fuentes. So I don't agree with everything that this guy says by a long shot, but I saw an argument that he made a couple of years ago about this. And it was a good argument. He says, actually, we want him out of politics because how much we love women, because how much we respect women. He says, because politics is brutal and it's nasty.
Yes.
And it's awful and it's horrible. And there's men out there who get involved in it and it hurts them so bad they go home and they put a 45 in their mouth and they blow their fucking brains out.
Yeah.
That's how dirty and nasty and evil and life ruining it is. Right? They're going to go through your Instagram, lady, and they're going to find a tit pit, and they're going to put it out for the whole world. They're going to make sure your kids see it. They're going to do horrible things to you. And it's because we love you so much, we want you the fuck out of it. And I'm like, how do you argue with that?
That's what a lot of women don't get, is that we're trying to protect them. Like my grandfather was a bookie. His name was Johnny McInnes. Mm-hmm. And no one would trust an Irishman, so he changed it to McInnes. And he didn't
resemble that remark.
he didn't do that great as a bookie towards the end because he refused to take women's money. But back then, if a woman has money to gamble, she's spending grocery money.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have that money.
Yeah.
So there's different ways you could phrase that. And as an outsider, you might hear that story and go, what a sexist. He wouldn't let women gamble like men. Women are equal to men. No, in those circumstances, she clearly had a problem and she was gambling. And you know what? If you want to gamble, honey, tell your husband what horse you want and he can decide.
Yeah.
And it goes back to voting too. I was going to mention that when you were talking about the suffragettes, my wife voted for Hillary. And it was like,
You got a divorce, right?
It was fucking close. It was a 2-week fight.
No. You're still married?
Yes, we're still married. But we fought about it for weeks.
Ooh, you're a better man than me.
Yeah, and she canceled my vote out. So now our household didn't have any influence on the election because I voted for Trump and she voted for Hillary. And that was... So a household should vote together.
Well, it should just be one vote per household.
Yes. And I was saying to her, I was like, this is like us deciding to move to Colorado. Like, I'm not going alone. We obviously would make a decision as a family, and then we would all pack our stuff, and then we would all move in the moving van. You're going to a different city than me.
Yeah.
So you're taking our family to a different place. So my general point is that all of these kinks had been worked out.
Your wife voted for Hillary, though?
She's a vegan, she's a liberal, and then our whole family got fucking pilloried by the Hillarys, and she's got red-pilled just from the sheer abuse.
From the Clintons?
Our liberal neighbors terrorized us. They put flyers all over my town, my kid's school, on the highway. They vandalized the car, the house. They would Zeke Heil outside my fucking door and throw garbage on our lawn and have their dogs shit on our lawn and attack me at restaurants and stare everywhere we went. One woman hissed.
She hissed?
Yeah, she went. She was like 70 years old.
Did you laugh at her?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I laughed at her.
They do this staring thing too, where they look at you and you're like, lady, if you're not an MS-13, the staring thing means 0. Yeah. You're not intimidating. What are you doing? You have to have facial tattoos if you think staring is a thing.
Yeah. Well, where's the intimidation factor? You just look like a fucking weirdo, right?
Hi.
It's like what? But yeah, so yeah, that would have been rough, man. If I would have sat down with my wife, I think I would have told my wife, "You're staying home. Then you're staying. Maybe you disagree with me, but you're fucking staying home. There's no way you're going to go out and vote. A Wilson will not vote for a Clinton ever.
Yes.
Ever.
Well, also, ask her what the policies are. She was just voting liberal because that's how she grew up. There's no thought behind it whatsoever. And that's true of pretty much all liberal voters. I mean, ask a black person why they voted for Obama and say, you can't mention race.
Yeah.
And you're going to get 0. There's 0%.
It's so funny to me how blacks are very conservative. Like, surprisingly, politically, they're conservative if you start asking them questions about policy, right? But
gay marriage.
They vote as a monolith, and they vote as a monolith because it has been presented to them that it's a you versus the system, and those whites are out there voting for Republicans, so you got to vote against those. You know what I mean?
Well, it's how you would vote if you were 12.
Yeah.
Like, Hispanics do this too. They see the Hispanic name, Geraldo Rivera, and they just click that box because it looks like their cousin's name. And I remember someone predicted this, Samuel Johnson or something. He's dead now. He was considered a real right-wing Nazi, but he wasn't. And he said, as we become thirds, third black, third Hispanic, third white, people are just going to go by race. And that's how elections will go. The whites will vote for the white guy, the blacks will vote for the black guy. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing a lot of segregation. We're going back to the 50s where blacks want, black neighborhoods, black schools, black graduation, black everything.
It's kind of funny how it's come full circle. But you're right. What has happened is, if you look at progressive policies when it comes to intersectionality, that's exactly what it is. Intersectionality is trying to reduce everything to these racial categories. And they do it in kind of a bizarre mental gymnastics. So they say, these are all categories of the mind. You go, okay, I can accept that they're categories of the mind. They're not objective truths. But if you treat them as though they're objective truths, how are they still categories of the mind, right? At that point, you've moved them out of the category of the mind into the ethos. So
What are you saying, that race is a category of the mind?
From the perspective of a progressive,
Right.
race is a social construction. So
Right.
so it's not an objective biological reality, social construction. So that makes it a category of the mind. It doesn't exist any more than a school exists, a building exists that you call a school, right?
Right.
So that's category of the mind. Well, but then they take it and they say, but we're going to pretend as though it's real in reality anyway.
Right.
And then we're going to apply policy to it as though it is.
Right, and that's playing God.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
it never
what you're
works.
doing. Yeah.
Well, the thing I like about I'm a socially liberal libertarian, but I'm a conservative in fiscally and with the border.
You got to stop being a libertarian. It's bad for you.
Well, I've been saying that for so long. I kind of forgot what it means. But what I mean is, I don't want the government getting involved in anything. I want to burn down the White House. But I've always said this sort of conservative that we are is the least racist in the world, because we accept there might be patterns. You know, even with race and IQ, fine, go nuts. But it doesn't apply to us because we don't incorporate it. So if the NBA is all black, I don't give a fuck. If Harvard is all Asian, I don't give a fuck. The problem with the left is they see that and they want to fix it. And they want, more black people at Harvard and more Asians in the NBA, although they never really get involved in sports. But when you're a normal conservative, you're like, there might be patterns out there, but I'm just going on meritocracy. And I don't care what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with the modern left, is they care what it looks like.
Well, this is a problem giving secularists authority. So what we've done is we've brainwashed the entirety of the public to believe that the religious and Christians are not allowed to have any institutional authority at all, only secularists are. The biggest problem with that is that secular ideology has no grounding foundation whatsoever. So they can play God, because who is God to them? There is no God to them, right? So they want to remap society in a way that they feel is the most egalitarian and has the most for everybody, right? And so they will culturally engineer it to the ends of time, because nothing is sacred to them. There is no ontological standard for what a man is. There's no ontological standard for what a woman is. There is no standard, no grounding standard for what ethics or morals are at all. If you don't have any of those standards, why can't you just engineer society how you want it? This is what's best for everybody.
Yeah, and they would see white males in power, and they would go, well, that's clearly a racism.
Sure.
If all these white males are
Privilege.
successful, then they must be getting a red carpet. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are better at politics, white males. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're better in stories. This is something I was thinking about recently, where you watch a movie now and it's a badass chick kicking ass, right? And there's 4 of them and one's blind, and like that Marvel movie.
They're always wearing tight leather, by the way.
Yeah, they're always sexy.
Always wearing tight leather. They always have a gun, and it's always here, and they never use the gun. Right? It's always on the hip. They never use it.
And the
They just
movie's
heel
always
kick.
bomb, because they go, well, you have to see it to be it, and we need more females in action movies. But when you look at history, white males are disproportionately part of the story. Now, white women made them, so you're already higher up than the guy. But you think of like Braveheart and William the Conqueror and Jesus Christ and, St. Andrew and all of these different, they just seem to be at the forefront of most stories in history. So maybe it's natural that you have Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, and it looks reasonable, because that's what's been happening in history.
Well, and also the actors, things like this, where are you pulling them from? I mean, the United States was basically all European.
Right.
I mean, basically all of it was European. There was, it had a small black, kind of block to it, very tiny Hispanic block to it. But for most of its history, it was basically a European nation. So if you're pulling, pulling into media, things like that, where are you pulling from?
But might sound retarded, but I'm talking about all of world history.
Yeah.
White males seem to be at the forefront. You got Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun. Mm-hmm. That's about it for the East.
Yeah. Well, you had the shogunate in Japan. You had, the Koreas. You had what was going on there. There was, the East has some pretty extreme history, but European history is interesting for sure.
There's something about white males where they're more inclined to take a risk. That's like you have Asians tend to have higher IQs than whites, but you have all these inventions.
East Asians.
You have all these inventions coming from whites, despite not being the smartest ones. And I think it's a combination of like gumption and grit and risk taking, and it just leads to more inventions. Well,
I think it was. I know that you probably
look
know.
At Chinese.
E. Michael Jones, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Well, E. Michael Jones has a hypothesis about this, which is kind of interesting. So, white cultures themselves are kind of young, right? They're actually kind of young. The European nations were basically all barbarians, and that's what the Romans called them, barbarians, because they went blah, 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 right? That's why they called them barbarians. Really? Yeah, that's why the Romans and the Greeks called them barbarians. Blah, blah, blah. That's what they thought they sounded like. Thought they sounded like idiots. And they lived in forests, the European forests, basically.
Yeah.
Once there was a move through to kind of culture the barbarians, they had all this natural resource around them. Massive forests. Some of these trees were, you never find anything like it, again. All of Europe was a giant forest. So they had huge industry. They were able to kind of move into huge industry because they had a lot of resources. And so kind of the Jones hypothesis on this is Africans are way behind because they didn't have all of this access to resource for industry. There's just really nothing there in sub-Saharan Africa. Whereas in Europe, when the barbarian tribes which are there get domesticated, they had tons and tons of resources, and so they became very inventive.
But isn't the whole hypothesis about race and IQ that people in Africa had it easier, so they didn't have to survive, whereas whites had to survive the Siberian winters, and they got better at systems, because they had to like pickle things and plan for the winter and insulate a home and have firewood for the winter months, but no one else really had to plan that far ahead.
So that's, if we're looking from kind of a purely evolutionary lens, which is what you're kind of looking at. Not really. That wouldn't really be the hypothesis, because they also weren't getting run down by fucking lions and tigers, and they also weren't, having nearly as much trouble.
Well, blacks can run fast.
But so can the whites, right? But yes, Africa had all sorts of conditions that they were dealing with there that were every bit as bad as the conditions dealt with by these northern tribes, right? Same thing. They had all sorts of bad conditions, but they didn't have nearly as much in the way of naturalized resources which were useful. They had those things that nobody cared about then, right? If you're tribal, like gold and diamonds and rubies, right?
Stupid.
Nobody gave a fuck about those things.
Those are rocks.
Yeah, those are fucking dumb, glittery rocks. We can't eat that shit. You know what I mean?
Why do you? Because I don't think it's arguable that whites are, especially males, are exceptionally good at systems. And why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because of Christianity.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I agree with the Jones hypothesis that. So, the interesting thing about Christianity is you can take this kind of cross ethnos. You can say, yeah, the Scottish are a lot like the Irish. They're not fucking Irish. And they're not English. And the English and the Scottish and the Irish have fought a lot of fucking wars against each other.
Yeah.
They've done it tons and tons and tons.
600 years.
Yeah, but they have this great unification, right, that happened throughout all of Europe called Christianity. And there was a synergistic relationship between the church and the state. Well, the church itself, it had churches that it was the head of in all of these different countries, in England and in France, and it was all the Catholic Church, one church under one head. So it was really easy to communicate between these different nations for diplomacy, things like this. So systems gradually expanded from that. And yeah, we're really fucking good at it, but we were one of the first who had this kind of unifying religion across all of Europe. All of it was basically under a single church. You had a cardinal in France who could be talking to a cardinal in England. They would be helping out with political affairs, this kind of thing. And yeah, I think Christianity is what did it.
Whoa, you just blew my mind. Because I've been going with the Siberian winters hypothesis for a very long time. But you're right. When you think of Western success, it's post-Christianity.
All of it is post-Christianity.
That's what Buchanan says in Death of the West.
If you look at the African nations, right, where Christians got to first, used to be some of the jewels of the world too. The unification.
How did Africa lose its Christianity?
Well, Muslims. Yeah, but not just Muslims either, but you had warlords, and Africa has been a breadbasket of battle over resources for a long, long, long time. Like I said, they have the resources there that nobody wanted there, but everybody wanted everywhere else.
Yeah.
Including them as a resource.
So why is Africa such a useless shithole?
It's not. But there's Sub-Saharan Africa is, but the rest of it's not. There's lots of great places in Africa. The Ivory Coast is highly successful.
I don't really think of that as Africa, but you're right. Northern Africa is Africa. But yeah, Morocco and all that they got their little markets and their little carpets and everything.
Sure. The same with the Middle East. I mean, people are always the Middle East such a shithole. Well, it's really not. There's some places in the Middle East that are a shithole.
Yeah, good
But there's
point.
a lot of places in the United States that are a fucking shithole too.
Yeah.
So
I don't make fun of the third world anymore, especially with our justice system the way it is.
Yeah, but yeah, Christianity, I think, is the system which you see that I think that's what you're pointing to when you say, why is it we're so good with systems and cooperation and communication and thing? Well, imagine if you had this thing you could appeal to, nobody else could, that crossed the boundary of ethnicity and race. So now this transcends your patriotism, and this transcends whatever your kind of family obligation is to this higher authority. And everybody can appeal to that higher authority, right? That creates kind of this communication apparatus that nobody else had access to. Everyone else is dealing with warlords and shoguns and emperors, and they're all battling for these different things. These Europeans, they all had to appeal to the single church. And so yeah, there's a lot of systems.
Well, it shows that the decay of the West too, with this war on Christianity. And like my kid's teacher, my 11-year-old, when she does the Pledge of Allegiance, she goes, one nation, and then she doesn't say under God. She does a little dipsy-do. So she goes, one nation, indivisible, and
not allowed to, right?
Goes through it. And she also was teaching them not to say BC and AD, but to say CE, but Common Era and before Common Era or something like that. And
BCE.
Yeah, I go to my son, I don't care if one is more politically correct. No one's going to know what the fuck you're talking about if you say BCE.
And AD, I think it was Latin, it was Anno Domini. Which did mean after death. Right. But that's what it was. Well,
that's the thing. It's like AM and PM. Like, it's what everyone understands. So you're making him stupider just out of your spite for religion. And I've always said, you can be atheist in America. You can be Muslim in America. But you have to respect that the backbone of this country is Christianity. And, if you go to Japan, you take your shoes off when you go inside. You would never complain that there's too much Japanese in Japan, or everyone's speaking Japanese.
No.
But here we need, 7 languages on a sign, and you have town halls that are totally taken over by Hispanics, and they do the shit in Spanish.
Well, and there's no singular appeal to a church either. And there used to be, Protestantism didn't used to be this faction. It really was not nearly as factioned. It was maybe 7 or 8 big factions. The original 13 colonies were around. Each one of the 13 colonies had a national religion, by the way, for that colony. And they kept that even after the Constitution was ratified. There was no separation between church and state.
Yeah.
Jefferson eroded that afterwards. What is really interesting is, absent that appeal to an apparatus, when it just becomes a hodgepodge, what is sacred? What is American culture, right? I don't know what you point to, because I think that you would agree that politics is downwind of culture. But I think that culture is downwind of religion. And so...
America is very clear to me. Maybe it's because I'm an immigrant, but it's a Christian nation founded on Christianity. Back and forth and arguing are a seminal part of American culture. Right and left debating, constantly going back and forth.
But that's part of church culture.
Sure.
Debate.
Yeah, very important. And the Catholic Church was pro-science too. They liked constantly figuring.
Well, the only way you can you could put these different councils together, right? And the only way you could put the canons together, these were hotly debated, hotly contested. One of the ways the church have always reached consensus is through rigorous debate. Yeah. And that is a thing. That is a backbone.
Well, it's when before we gained independence, the Brits said, let's have a bunch of newspapers all along the East Coast, but I want a right-wing newspaper and a left-wing newspaper. And then they started bringing people to the tavern and giving them free beer if they would take gun lessons. So they could be independent and we don't have to constantly be policing you. And so you had debate, guns, and beer, and
Perfect society.
and then they go, why are we paying taxes to the fucking king? Let's be independent. So I think that is America right there.
Yeah.
Guns, beer, and debate. And those are all, and Christianity, and those are all under attack right now more than ever. We've got a war on Christianity, a war on God.
Well, there's no real attack because we've lost. So, I mean, we can't recover this generation or next generation. The left has seized every major institution, absent one, which is the church. But there is no the church in the United States. That's the problem. There's a huge faction of different Protestant churches, many of which have a lot of power, but they're bribed. They become, LGBTQ infiltrated, rainbow flag having churches, this type of thing. There's nothing core for conservatives to conserve. What are they trying to fucking conserve? It's all gone. There's nothing there. There's no majority. So if you were an ethno-nationalist, there's no more white majority. That's done. So what are you trying to conserve? There is no more capitalist society anymore. It's a blended economic society now with free healthcare, free this, free that, all sorts of state aid. It's a blended economy now. So what are we conserving? There's no conservation anywhere. Conservatism's fucking dead. We'd have to retake back everything.
So you think even with Trump winning, if Trump wins, we're past the point of no return?
Yeah, we can't. Trump was Michael Moore explained this the best way I've ever heard it explained. Big fat fucking Michael Moore, piece of shit Michael Moore, but he had it right. He said Trump was a hand grenade for the working class, and he was, right? We pulled the pin, we threw his ass in, but he wasn't, nobody expected miracles out of Trump. You didn't, I didn't. Nobody expected this guy was really going to be able to go in and sweep the whole state and build a 100-foot wall. That was never what it was about. What it was about was revenge. He's a platform of revenge against the political elite. Fuck you. He can have a cheeseburger from McDonald's and you can go fuck yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can go fuck you've been fucking us our entire lives. You're pieces of shit. You know what I mean? This guy's in there and he's going to give you a run for your money. He's going to piss you off. He's going to make you upset. He's going to, even if he's just a rock in your shoe, I know you're fucking uncomfortable and that makes me happy. You know what I mean? And that's what he was. He was a political.
That's what January 6th was. It was a fuck you.
Yeah, it was a fuck you.
It was not well thought out. It was not trying to take over the government. It was just someone losing their temper.
Yeah, it was people. Well, this is the thing, right? Is people only take so much before they explode. And then, do I think that there was a lot of feds behind the scenes who were trying to also move things during January 6th? Fuck yes.
Oh yeah.
Fuck
it can
yes.
all be true. Yeah.
There's no doubt that there's a lot of truth to that. I'm just saying, ultimately, when I look at what Trump was, Trump can't save. You can't save a nation where all the institutions, all of them, are controlled by leftists. What can you do? Not only all of the media, but all of education, all of our medical institutions, all of our sociological institutions. And that's where people get all their studies. They don't get it from hard science. They get it all from sociology, right? This is how people behave. This is how they act. This is what we need to do for policy based on behavior and action. It's all subverted. So you can't take any of that back, man. What has to happen is this. As leftists and secularists have taken over, our birth rates have declined to the point of no recovery. The good news is that secularists do not reproduce. So that gives us a huge shot.
So our grandchildren won't have to put up with these assholes.
They're dying off.
Yeah.
And the religious, they breed. And they breed a lot. And if you look at the gap between which ones are having children and which ones are not, the religious are not only pulling ahead, but they're going to continue to pull ahead. They can only win through indoctrination. So you really have a chance right now in 2 generations, take back all these institutions just by sheer numbers. If you're putting the values into your kids of don't just go along to get along, but actually go into these institutions and start getting positions, well-paid positions.
Yeah, Jews are having the same thing happen on a drastic scale where Orthodox and Hasids have like 10 kids, and seculars have 1 at the most.
Do you know how they tried to address that?
No.
So it's interesting, in Israel, they went, we got a big fucking problem. These Arabs are breeding like rabbits all around us, and our birth rates are dropping. So they did a national in vitro fertilization program. It is free in Israel to try to get in vitro fertilization for any Jewish woman of any age as many times as you want.
Huh.
And that's a super expensive thing.
Because I think their birth rate is now the same.
It went back up, right? It went back up, and it did assist with the recovery. The problem is that the average age that women are getting married now in the United States is 30.
Yeah, that's not good.
In Israel, it's 33.
Well, have you noticed that everyone is fucking autistic?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the dads I know, I'm just off the top of my head, I would say maybe 5% or more have one kid who's an issue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that way when I was a kid. And there wasn't as much abortion when I was a kid. There'd be a couple Down syndromes hanging around. But, like, there's always that one son who's just like,
One of the big
I
problems...
think it's having kids late.
Well, not only is that a big problem, but it's also birth control hormones. So birth control hormones they fuck women's bodies up really badly and do long-term damage that I still don't think they really have a good grasp on how
you're
bad.
Right. I think they were designed to be like a couple years of college, but women are taking them from 16 to 30.
Yeah, I just got off the pill that I've been on for 16 fucking years regulating my hormones.
Lying to my body for 16 years.
And now it has to actually produce the stuff it's supposed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a problem.
Yeah. Have you heard this theory that it tells a woman's body she's pregnant? So she doesn't want to be around someone who's going to fuck her. She wants a man around, but a non-sexual, so a buddy, like a brother. So they end up with these beta males, effeminate guys who pose no sexual threat. Then they marry that guy. Then they go off their birth control and they're repulsed by him.
They go fuck Chad.
Yeah, and they say he smells different. Like they're completely revolted by their husband because he's a
Yeah, one of the worst, he is, and that's exactly what he is. Well, one of the worst things about this, and there is some truth to this, to what you're saying, often it is the case that if hormone regulations in a woman change, right, they become completely repulsed by whoever it was that they chose initially. And yeah, of course, birth control is going to contribute enormously to that. But women's mental health, especially, when they're always like, women didn't used to be like this, where they were all fucking crazy, where they were so irrational that even having a conversation with one was next to impossible. Well, imagine frying your brain with birth control for years of your life. It literally makes you batshit crazy. Women's hormones make them insane. If it's not through natural regulation, all you have to do is look at one when they're on their period, and their hormones go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They become irrational lunatics for like 5 days, and then they go right back to normal.
Right.
But it's like, that's why there's so much mental illness with women.
Yeah, well, I also think it's they're out of their element. You know?
Yeah.
So they're faking, and you see that on that whatever podcast all the time. These women are posturing like they debate for a living, and I think I've seen 3 different girls start crying and just leave because they're not in their element.
Make them cry all the time. But the thing is funny is, Brian, he's it's his show, and he has, he has him in all the time, and he's just like, he'll call me sometimes, and he goes, what the fuck, dude? Like, how, where does this all, like, is there any end? There's no end, right? There's no end because there's so many now who can just go at 19 years old, get on camera, bend over, open their ass cheeks, and show the world their butthole, and just have tons of money sent to them by these simps. That's how do you convince a
Satan
woman
will give you what you
making
want.
$50,000 a month to just bend over and show her asshole to stop doing that? How could I do that?
Especially when there's no stigma.
There's none. In fact, I'll talk to him and say, you can watch episode after episode of me saying, what does your dad think?
That's what I always think.
Yeah, but I've asked so many of them, what does your dad think about you sucking men's cocks on the internet for money?
Yeah.
Doesn't your dad walk in and say, stop being a fucking whore?
And they always say the same thing. They say he's a fan. He loves it.
Yeah, he loves it. He tells me, you're daddy's little girl, and I'm so happy for you that you're making this money. And I'll tell him, I'm like, your dad's a piece of fucking shit.
He's a fucking
Tell your fucking
loser.
dad to call me. Tell your fucking dad to call me so I can say, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Are you retarded? Go, well, I can't do it. Dude, stop being a bitch and go in there and tell her, you can't suck dick, honey. You're bringing shame to the family name.
I haven't been to a strip club in 17 years since my daughter was born, because I just see dads on stage. And I just think of him. He's probably got a 40 somewhere.
Yeah.
He hasn't been around, and I just think, you fucking loser. That's your daughter up on stage.
No, and they don't care. They don't care. And I'll ask them, you know what? My mom actually gives me more pushback than my dad. Your mother gives you more pushback than your father? You get fucked up your asshole on the internet on OnlyFans, and your dad's like, you gotta make that money, honey.
Yeah, that'll always be there. Mom, how come you had so much money when you were 20? I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be there forever.
Well, I've asked some of them who have kids. I'm like, what happens when little Johnny comes over and he's like, hey, my friend Chuck, he just showed me, you getting urinated on by 5 guys. Mom, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's this?
And that's 100% happening.
It's happening all over the place.
No way.
Right? And then they kicked my ass and they took my lunch money and called you a whore, and you are. And you are.
It's accurate.
They were correct.
Yeah, you are a whore.
You are objectively a fucking prostitute. So they're not even wrong. What's the defense, Mom? What's the defense? And the thing is, they don't fucking care. They're so self-interested, they don't give a shit. And, it's a simpocalypse. It's a true simpocalypse.
And I think we all have to take some blame for it, too. Like, that chick...
I'm not taking any blame for it.
Shani Kane. We were talking about her the other day, the chick with dreads, with the nose rings, and she's like, I'm a herbalist.
Oh, yeah.
Like, her baby daddy went to prison right after the baby was born, and she couldn't make ends meet as a single mom, and she ended up doing OnlyFans. So, as a society, I feel there's some culpability there. I don't, in a way, I don't blame her. Going from 2 shitty jobs, Arby's and Costco, to tons of money being a whore.
I think that's the wrong way to look at it, though. Let me kind of counter that a little bit. If you're looking through it through that frame, and you're like, look, society's not taking care of its single moms. Maybe not, but women are the gatekeepers of sex, not men. We'll fuck anything, right? We'll fuck anything. If it's last call at the bar, and all that's there, right, is, the nasty bar skank, well, you're going home with me.
Oh, okay? Those are usually the best ones.
Maybe, but we will. They're the gatekeepers of sex.
Yeah.
They can reject men from having sex with them, and they do it all the time. They're well trained at this, okay?
Right.
This is their thing.
Yeah.
So if you're caught being a single mother, okay, it's your fucking fault. You fucked up. Because you were always the gatekeeper of sex to begin with. You fucked up, and you do have to take responsibility. And there's many who say, look, I did fuck up. I have to change things around, and great. I'm happy to see that. Great, fantastic. And you didn't kill your kids. That's even better. But the what about the mendo argument? What about the men? Isn't it really the men? No, it's really not the men. The women are the ones who are the gatekeepers. They're the access keepers of sex. And all they have to do is what they've done traditionally for thousands of years and close their fucking legs. It's not that hard.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But this might be too personal, but didn't your wife marry a douche?
Yeah, but she's responsible, right, for the choice that she made, the marriage that she made. She comes out publicly and tells young women the same thing. I'm totally responsible, not for what happened to me, but for the choices that I made which led to the results of this happening to me.
Was her first husband always a loser, or did he go down
he was a dirtbag, and he lied to her, right, all that. But still, the ultimate responsibility lies on her for the choice that she made, you know what I mean? And there's no getting around that. But when people recognize that they've made a bad decision and that they're culpable for the bad decision, they rectify it, nobody gives them pushback. They're like, you know what, great. You fucked up, you moved past it. Nobody really cares. It's only when they're like, I'm a helpless victim. This just happened to me. This penis came out of nowhere and inserted itself in me and got me pregnant through no fault of my own. That's when people are like, no, you know, let's maybe reevaluate this and just notate that promiscuity in women, generally speaking, really, really, really bad. Even one bad decision, like my wife's not promiscuous, not even close, right? If you were to take, well, I guess I won't get into all that, but yeah, not even close. Some of these women have had sex with, you know, more men than my wife's ever been with in 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's disturbing. And it's not natural for them. They don't enjoy it. I don't think it's natural for anyone. Like Motley Crue on tour for their second album, fucking like 5 chicks a night. That's a gay lifestyle. Yeah. And it's a miserable lifestyle. Yeah. There's no joy in that.
Yeah, well, I always ask these women, like, if I were to create a world where every man you had sex with, okay, you had a kid, no matter what. Every new man you had sex with. If I applied that rule to my wife, she'd have less children now, okay, less children than she currently has. How many would you have?
500.
Right. Enough where you could swim to the top of this room through the babies, right?
It would be a zombie apocalypse movie.
Well, but the thing is like no culpability. My wife's first one to tell you. Totally culpable. I made terrible decisions. I had shit parents. They gave me the bad advice. They let me move in with my boyfriend at 16, right? Fucking insane. Fucking insane. They're hippie boomer dumbasses, okay? Free love, all this bullshit. But ultimately, you know, now that...
Are you friends with them?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, one of them. Because, you know, they're all divorced, right?
Right, yeah.
They're all divorced, all a mess, but... I mean,
they invented divorce, the boomers.
Yeah, I've talked with her dad, and he's like, yeah, it was stupid. It's fucking stupid. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you were thinking either. But she's right. Now, then, when, you know, she's 16, right? Parents have a little bit of culpability there.
Absolutely.
But external there.
16 is a child.
Yeah, it is. But external to that, right? You know, ultimately, women have to be held responsible and stop being infantilized for their decision making. They make stupid fucking decisions sometimes, and we need to point out, look, you made a stupid fucking decision. Stop pretending you didn't. Stop pretending you're a fucking hero because you made a stupid ass decision. Stop it. You fucked up, and it's all right that you fucked up, but now how do you fix the fuck up? That's what we're expected to do. Who's ever come to you and been like, oh, it's okay, Gavin. I know you fucked up, but it's okay. It never happened in your life.
No.
Never one time.
No, in fact, it's usually magnified.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know how much you fucked up, you fucking idiot.
You have no clue.
I don't know. I'm kind of optimistic about where things are going. I know Trump is going to win the election. I've offered to eat a live mouse if he doesn't. That's how sure I am.
He's not going to. There's no way.
Absolutely landslide. It'll be too big to rig.
No way.
All right, well then I'm eating a mouse.
Bro, you really made that bet?
Yeah.
You think they're going to let
Trump...
Trump...
alive, I'm going to bite its head off, blood everywhere.
You think they're really going to let him back in? They stole it from him the first time.
Yeah, but they had COVID as a catalyst. They won't have COVID this time. And
what if the vaccine was all the... made them all Manchurian candidates? So they just...
they just have a lever at home.
Yeah, they just like, they got the button. Okay, it's Biden. And they just like, when they're in the booth.
Here, this is going to sound terrible, but something went viral on Twitter, and it was like, ultimate turn on. It's when she's racist or when she likes Hitler or something like that. Mm-hmm. And everyone was saying that like it's a cool thing if a hot chick likes Hitler. Now, no one literally means I want to gas Jews or whatever by that. What it really means is she's controversial and not uptight and edgy and red-pilled and funny. It's really what it means. If someone says they're racist on Twitter and it's a chick, what she really means is, I'm funny and I'm not uptight. And you're seeing a lot more of that, of edgy humor and Twitter. Like, Google's gone. You can't look up anything on Google, but you look up Twitter. If the example I always use, there was a stabbing in Ireland, and every time I looked on Google, it was Irish national involved in knife attack. I'm like, what happened? You go to Twitter, he's Syrian, he's been here for a year, here's his face, here's the 8-year-old he stabbed, here's his face, and this is where they lived, and this is what happened. So the news is getting out there. Like, when I was a teenager and I heard the Black Wall Street myth about how we burned down Black Wall Street, I didn't have anything to counter that. So I went, oh, turns out we sucked and we burnt down Black Wall Street.
Not really what happened.
Not even close. And now, you know, a 16-year-old gets told that and they can go look it up and see, oh no, it was a race riot based on a sexual assault and a town burned down. So I don't know. I think young people today, and don't they say that 18 to 25s are like 25% conservative, and that hasn't happened since the 80s?
Well, the sex shift is like night and day. So women are overwhelmingly moving more towards progressivism, and young men are moving overwhelmingly towards conservatism.
Oh yeah, I heard that's because of social media, because the algorithm gives you what you want, so you end up more you.
Yeah, well, there's some truth to that. It's also just because
men are smarter.
Yeah, well, and they look around and they're pretty fucking mad. Like, they're pretty pissed off. Like, look, this kind of sucks. Why are all these fucking women whores? Why am I in high school at 15 and the captain of the cheerleading squad at 18 has an OnlyFans? That's fucked up.
Yeah.
What a way to ruin your dream. Right? What a way to ruin your perception of reality. Yeah. So yeah, they move over to the right, and now, it's not like it was even 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Shows like yours Uncensored, all these alternative media platforms, they are actually beginning to finally gain a little bit of steam. When I was young, we had to exchange fanzines via the mail if you wanted any sort of, alternative anything. And that was a pain in the ass. Yeah.
And it was very little. There was 5, answer me, sewer cunt, fucked. There was 5 zines that you would exchange, and they came out once a month. Now it's piles of, you couldn't watch all the content on censored.tv to that one network. You'd be watching 6 hours a day, you wouldn't have a life.
Right.
And there's Cozy, there's
And is it getting bigger or smaller? Getting bigger, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing is, the reason it is, YouTube and Twitch and all these places, they don't want politics on YouTube. No fucking way. They want kittens, and they want people with cute nails, and they're doing their cute nails and glitter, and all the bullshit in the world except politics, because politics costs them ad revenue, and nothing else does. Politics controversial, it costs ad revenue. These big companies will pull their ads out of any of these Google algorithms. That'll cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. So they don't give a shit if a creator makes them $1 million to $4 million a year. They don't give a shit. They'll throw them out in a second if it has the potential to cost them one of these big ad revenue players. So they don't want any politics on YouTube. They don't want any politics on any major platform. They're trying to move all that shit off platform. So guys who spearheaded that, who started getting these alternative media sites together ahead of time, they're going to really benefit from that in the next 5-10 years, because it's just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah. So, and it was very hard to make our site. We had to employ hackers and it just went down last week in Canada. I hear British people saying they can't process their credit card payments. So it's a daily hassle to make this thing exist, but it's existing. And I don't know. When I talk to young people, I get inspired. The Zoomers are funnier than me. They are smarter than I was at that age. I feel pretty optimistic about the future.
Yeah, except 1 in 4, though.
Or whatever they are.
Let's take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, right?
Well, it'll be a male lesbian with a woman who identifies as a dude.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you're a heterosexual couple, by the way, just in case you don't know.
Yeah, in case you didn't know.
Like Gigi Gorgeous, you know her?
Oh,
he has a dick.
I know.
And his wife has a cunt. So he fucks her cunt with his penis. You're heterosexual. Welcome.
Yeah. You just didn't know that.
All aboard.
Yeah, you just didn't know that even if you wear a dress.
You went so gay.
Yeah, that you went back to being straight.
You met us at the base.
Talk about horseshoe theory.
Yeah.
Now it goes with the homos too.
Hi, fellow hetero. Fuck
yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's so funny to me though. I mean, that is the rate though. It's like 1 in 4 of these Zoomers identifying.
But it's fashion. That's like saying 1 in 4 is goth.
It's women.
Yeah?
It's women. When you look at that 1 in 4 number, you start breaking it down by sex. Guess how much? It's like 70% women.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because we know white people are horrible, and you can't say you're black.
Yeah.
So what do? You say you're trans, and now you're out of the white group.
Right.
And you're
in
not
that other
responsible
group
for slavery or anything. Right. You're an independent, cool person.
Now you're in the other category.
You're absolved of all your sins.
That's right. That's right. Yes, you're good. You have now entered into the trans-coomer identity. You're fine. Right this way. What can we get for you?
How do these poor bastards get laid? It just not
they don't.
Laid.
They don't. Haven't you seen the latest polls on men who are virgins? They're calling it the incel crisis because they're not getting laid.
They're jerking off.
Yeah.
To OnlyFans.
Yeah, and they're not getting married young either. So like this is a really bad time to be a young man.
Yeah.
It's a really bad time to be a young man. And I feel like what's happening is the millennials are becoming like the boomers who are just like, give me that shit and fuck them. Fuck that generation coming up.
Yeah.
It's a really bad way to go.
Well, I'm of two minds about it. I get a lot of shit for saying this, but on the one hand, yes, you're right. It is impossible to buy a house. Yes, you are told you suck shit every day. Yes, you know, you're saddled with debt for a useless degree. All of that is true. But at the same time, I'm like, suck it up. Like, try being English in Quebec in your teens. It is not possible to find a job. You can be a bike messenger in the winter. Mm-hmm. You can plant trees in northern Quebec, but you're a second-class citizen there. Your children cannot go to an English school. So we're controlling how your children think. And we figured it out.
I think when it comes to resource, I have noticed just in my lifetime that it seemed like every single time I would upgrade, I'd get a better job and it would lead to more money or this or that. That every time I looked at the material pricing around me, right, I could never outpace it. I could just never quite get in front of that, you know what I mean? And be like, oh, if you're making $20 an hour, man, if I can get to that $30 an hour,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I'd really get ahead of this. And by the time you'd reach that goal, you'd be like, I'm not getting ahead of this though.
Yeah.
This is a fucking mess.
Well, that's why you had to do those night shifts.
Yeah, well, that's why I did whatever I needed to do to get ahead. You know what I mean? And
I wish these young people realized too that if you want to make money, have babies. It puts a fire under your ass.
Oh, yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're fucking
and you got skills and everything else because by necessity. But there's another reason for that too. The other reason is that there's a social status with having a family that other men have a lot of respect for. And you're a really safe bet for a person who's hiring if you have a family because you probably won't leave. You need your income.
Oh, right.
You need your income. And so you're going to show up every day so that you can support your wife and your kids. You become a much safer bet. You can't just pack up and move the next day. And you have a higher social status. So much more likely to hire you if you have a family because they know that you're going to show up because you need the money. And you're probably going to do a good job and try to work your way up because that's your option.
And you're going to get in shit with your wife if you get fired.
Right, you're going to get fucked up.
Impressed.
You're a much safer bet. The turnover rate for married men, much lower than turnover rate for single guys. Single guys can be like, well, I want to be a railroad worker now. Goodbye. You know what I mean? I'm going to go work on an oil rig. See you later, office job.
I met a pretty girl and she's going back to Ohio.
Right.
So
I'm gone.
with her.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's also the social status end of it too. Society, generally speaking, not everybody, but generally speaking, society treats men with a family a little bit better than men who don't have a family.
It's just a better vibe.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to push.
More trustworthy.
With my show, and that's what I wrote a book about, Death of Cool. I was like, I get it, party years, awesome. but you started stealing liquor from your parents when you were 14. You're 24 now. That's 10 years of decadence. Time to close that chapter and start your real life. And then once you get married and have kids, you're like, I wasn't even a person.
I was a fucking degenerate scumbag.
I didn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm born now.
Yep.
I'm starting an actual life now.
But imagine what it used to be like for people when they were getting married, 18, 19, 20, and that was common. You know what I mean? They didn't really have time for the degen years.
Yeah, it was real, it was fun, it wasn't real fun.
Yeah, it was just real.
It was retarded.
It's just real.
All right, how are you doing for money these days?
We get by. We're not, to say that the various algorithms on like YouTube and the places where we mostly do our show, The Crucible, they don't like us at all. And so yeah, that's tough, but we're able to go on shows like this and advertise and get out to new audiences and then bring our audience over to that show. So that's pretty helpful. But I mean, as far as cash flow goes, like we're definitely not rolling in it, you know what I mean? But we're doing okay. And okay is okay enough for right now.
Right.
You know?
You're not doing as well as Destiny.
No, we're not raking in millions of dollars a year, no. Playing video games and letting people fuck our wives,
It's funny that we spend so much of the show talking about meritocracy, and then you have a dork like him making millions being a boob.
Yeah, being a complete degenerate coomer fuck. Well, the thing is like, and what they do, if they don't like you, if that like whole Destiny crew, because he has minions and everything else or other creators, they'll mass flag your channel off the internet, mass report you, they'll mass report you to payment providers, they'll dox you, they'll do whatever they need to do to stay on top. They don't give a shit.
It's Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, it's totally Revenge of the fucking Nerds. And the algorithm, if you just type in Destiny's #Destiny, inside of the YouTube algorithm, because you're reacting to a video, it instantly picks the video up.
Oh,
right?
really?
Instantly picks it up, because they're pushing this fucking coomer.
People actually work at Google and YouTube. They're fat losers who resent any kind of, alpha anything. And they want revenge. And they're trans and they're hideous and they're in there controlling the American conversation. And so much of them, and this is true of a lot of the left, is just spite. I've always said that's the gas that powers their engine, is this.
Well, they fucking hate me. I mean,
spite.
I've tangled with Destiny. I've probably debated this guy 7-8 times. Crushed him many, many times because he's a fucking idiot. You ever want to know how to beat Destiny in a debate, for all of you out there who are aspiring debaters, just ask him to repeat what he just said.
Really?
He can't do it. Because he's on Vyvanse and he has meth mouth. If you ask him to just repeat back what he just got done doing, he can't. He can't even repeat his last argument.
Because his head is zipping with Adderall.
Yeah, his mouth is moving, right? Because his jaw isn't hinged. It looks like the, have you ever, remember the old Godzilla movies? Uh-huh. You know how the lip sync was never synced up correctly? So it'd be like, look, it's Godzilla.
That's what he
does.
does.
That's what he does, except his jaw just hinges. So, so he's like, well, actually, due to the economic status of the... And you're like, dude, all you got to do is say, can you repeat your argument back so I make sure I get it correct? And he'll make a completely new argument because you can't remember what he just said 5 minutes ago because of the fucking Vyvanse that he's on.
That whole generation is tweaked out on fucking speed.
But they're all that way.
Watching porn, fucking making millions, being retarded. But at the same time, I talk to a lot of them and they really have their heads screwed on right. So I don't know how I feel about Zoomers. They're doomed and smart at the same time.
For me, it's like, I wonder about this generation alpha. That's what's going to be interesting to me. Because the decadence by the time the Zoomers are having family and having kids is going to be like through the fucking roof. The kind of decadence where you like walk in and you go, like half the people in the room are trans. Maybe a guy is sucking another guy off over here in this corner. Right, you know
like
what
Weimar
I mean?
Republic.
Yeah, it's going to be like insane. And then I'm just like, maybe Generation Alpha is going to be way more base than you think. They're just going to be a little bit more awesome than anybody could have predicted.
Yeah, I think so. I see it in their comedy. They seem to be slightly more advanced than everyone else. All right, well, it was great talking to you, buddy.
You too, man. Really appreciate it.
And to everyone at home, go fuck yourself.
Also, you can find me over on the Crucible on YouTube if you're so inclined to go.
That's right here below.
I really appreciate Gavin having me on. I appreciate censored.tv for those of you in the Crucible crew who are watching. And we'll put this out as well. Make sure you go over to Censored and become a member over here as well.
Right on.
Appreciate it.
So, if you enjoyed that clip,
Then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.